So let's talk a little bit about parent involvement, right? So, parents, you have the strongest influence on your children. It's stronger than any teacher, stronger than any friends, and stronger than any media. Um, Once your teen, even with your teens, right? You guys are, let's be real, like they look up to you guys so much. And even though in the teen years it might feel like they don't, they do. You matter more to them than anyone else. During their teen years, their friends do a lot too, but you have this profound impact on your child, their education, their attitude, everything, right? So, this is why, and we are actually, now that mentioning this, we are creating a parent course that you can take. We will have that uploaded sometime next year, but it is going to really dive into ways that you as a parent can support your child at home. So we're really excited to share that and bring it to you all next year. However, okay, so parents, you have you are a strong influence on your child. Parents, when your attitude is positive about education, typically, the research shows that your child's academic performance will improve because your child feels inspired. They are empowered to develop good learning habits. They see your involvement in it. They show much more interest in school because you're showing interest in their school and their education. And then learning becomes a family value, right? But I want to be mindful that we're not talking about grades here. We're truly talking about learning. So when your child sees that you are excited about them learning something, that you are embracing mistakes, that you are chatting with the teachers, going to school events, right? The research does show that your child will have a stronger academic performance. And we'll talk more a little bit of that about that soon. Um, but parent involvement has been shown that it is, the greatest academic achievement, despite any your economic status. So sadly, though, many parents do not get involved. And there are many reasons for this, right? Especially for us who have kiddos who are neurodivergent, right? So we may think that, because our children oftentimes tend to be in a little bit more trouble, that the school doesn't want to interact with us, that they're not going to give us the attention or the care that they would give to another family who has a quote unquote neurotypical student, right? And we may feel like the teacher doesn't like our child. Parents don't want to be we don't want to be approached by the teacher's behavior. So we have this fear that, well, if I go into the classroom, the teacher's going to try to have a meeting with me about my son or my daughter's behavior. The schools may not be as attentive to our perspective, right? So they may, emails are being sent and the school response is lacking. And then the school may also have poor communication of events and collaboration opportunities, right? So perhaps they're not spreading the word or sharing with you ideas of how parents can get involved in school. I would say even parents can get involved into schools at any age. So around fourth grade, fifth grade is typically when teachers stop inviting parents to certain things, right? So there's less in class involvement. However, you as a parent can still be involved in the school in general. So even though your child may be in high school, you are a senior, you can still be very involved with school. So, I know many of us don't have time for all of this, but there are many creative ways for us to get involved. So, volunteering activities for events, joining the PTA, going to meetings, going to back to school night. We'll share with you some ways that you can get involved for your child at all ages. We understand that in the elementary years, it's a lot more easy to get involved because they have so many events for parents and they're constantly welcoming you. So we'll talk about some ways for you to get involved as a middle and high school parent. Okay, so the research shows that the more involved you are in school, the higher your child's attendance will be. So when we see that, a child is kind of becoming disconnected from their school, they're having a lot of absenteeism. We see a lot of this correlating with parents' lack of involvement in their child's school, right? So it's kind of like a drop off, pick you up, and that's it. So the child isn't feeling some sort of connection, some sense of belonging to that school. And so absenteeism, right, when they're absent, it's going to affect their learning, social emotional development, their advocacy. So we see this a ton when our kiddos here start avoiding school, right? We really encourage parents to get somewhat much more involved, even if it's through email to their teacher. And immediately we see a turn in student performance. Um, Also, if if the absenteeism can lead to students being much more likely to drop out or give up on school, which can lead to unemployment, low income later on in life, and crime, right? And that's something we all want to avoid. Um, Being involved in your child's school or learning promotes at better behavior in and out of the classroom. So it improves your child's self-esteem, their attitude towards school. They start obeying classroom rules and the teachers a bit more, and they develop a healthy relationship with teachers and learning in general. So children feel valued, right? Because you are showing them that they matter to you beyond their grades. You are interested in what they're learning about, what they're doing in school, who they're spending time with, their teacher, their projects. You're collaborating with them and helping them out. They feel supported and they feel seen by you. So there's nothing much more important than giving your child attention. That one-on-one connection and attention goes a long way. And we see that when parents are much more involved in school, right? When you are trying to get in, um, joining the events, your child feels like they matter to you. And we know that your child matters to you all the time, but sometimes, we get so busy with our day to day that joining these school events, especially if we have really, we have two jobs or we have a really demanding job, right? Some things could be easily missed or overlooked. And so we want to be mindful to keep things in perspective. And maybe you can't go to all events, but maybe you go to one or two throughout the year, and that alone will make a big difference to your child. It improves teacher relationships, not just with your children, but with you as well. So it helps you and the teacher see things from the same perspective. So your relationship with the school will improve, and it will help you guys communicate about interventions and strategies that are working for you at home or that the teacher is using at home. So the more conversation, the more you guys are talking to each other, the more the teacher is going to see what's going on at home and be able to support you and your child much more. It will also foster mutual respect for each other, right? Because you will understand and see where your teacher is coming from, the teacher is coming from, and the teacher will understand your perspective as well. So, this could be done. Teachers always need help, by the way. So even if your child is in middle school or in high school, ask them, how can I help you if you have any spare minutes? They love that. I remember with me as myself as a teacher, when parents were in the classroom, they were asking me what they could help me with. Those were the parents that I naturally got closer to because I was just spending much more time with them. And those were the students who I really, really got to know well, right? Because again, like we were spending so much time together just chit-chatting while we were working together. So not only does it foster your relationship with them, but you will also collaborate a ton more. So again, like, you will try strategies, tell them what happened last night, points of frustration, and they and you will work through things together. So when you're involved, the teachers feel valued. It shows them that you care about their classroom and you want things to improve or for things to go well that school year. And you will have a much more appreciation for the teacher as well because you will be seeing firsthand what's happening in the classroom for you to be able to support your child when after school or when they get home. So it's teachers, when you are much more involved too, it helps the teacher get to know and understand you and your family and your child much more. Because again, we don't, as teachers, I remember, you only see what you see in the classroom, right? And so we really need a window into what's happening at home. So as educational therapists, if our children are, taking 40 minutes to do a homework assignment that maybe is taking everyone else 20 minutes, we communicate that to the teachers so that the teachers can make adjustments or look to see what's going on here, and we can work together on strategies and collaborate to help this child be much more efficient with their work or to level out the playing field. And so if we don't communicate this to the teachers, though, they do not know what they do not see, right? And so this is why it's really important to be sharing these things with them. So ultimately, the more involved you are in with your child's teacher, the more communication, the more compassion, collaboration, and healthier relationships you and the teacher will develop. So, what are some strategies for you as the parent to do as you this school year, right? What are some ways for you to get involved? So, this is going to apply for children of all ages. And I do want to point out that if you have a child who is really avoiding school, who is having difficulty with learning, who does not like their teacher, who gets frustrated really quickly and doesn't want to approach their homework or anything, or just simply scattered, please schedule a call with us. You can schedule it at wethrivelearning.com. You'll chat with me. We'll talk for 15 minutes or so about, I want to learn about your child. I want to share with you what our educational therapy and ADHD student coaching looks like to see if this would be a good fit for your child. I do also want to remind everyone that we are now considered an NPA. So if you have educational funds, we would be happy to partner with the school district and you to be able to bring our services free of charge to your family. So please take advantage of that. And yes, if your child's neurodivergent and it's creating a lot of tension, frustration at home, you're seeing your child's self-esteem dip, please schedule a call with us. We would love to support you or at least share with you what we do here. And if it's not us, guide you to another clinician or specialist who would be a better fit for you and your family. Okay, so what are some strategies for you as a parent to do for this? Again, it will apply for children of all ages. Number one is at home. We advise you or suggest that you create a learning space for your child, right? So this could be a dedicated space for them to be able to complete their homework and for them to study. Preferably, it would be outside of their room, but if that's not feasible, then the room it is. We just need to be really mindful of distractions that could come in the way. This desk space, we've done a whole Facebook Live on how to set this up, so please go back and visit that. But this desk space should be clear and should only have the materials necessary for them to complete their homework. That way, when they enter this desk space, they are in school mode and they're ready to get things done. But yes, for you to create the space with them, right, so that they understand, okay, like this is my dedicated space to do this. Parents are involved in it. They're showing you are showing them that you prioritize their learning by creating the space and in your house for them. And also that, you want them to have a safe learning environment for them to be able to do their homework. Number two is regularly communicate with teachers. So this gets a little tricky once your child gets older because we advise you to help your child write the emails to communicate with their teachers. So oftentimes, kiddos, students, teenagers, preteens may CC you on an email, or you can collaborate with your child, write the email with them coming from the child's email and have yourself CC'd on it so you kind of stay in the loop of the conversation. This is really helpful for not just you, but your child. It's going to develop their self-advocacy skill, email etiquette, asking, pinpointing what help they need and asking for it. And you will still be involved while promoting their independence and advocacy skills, which is something we really want them to develop by the time they are seniors so that they can transition, they feel ready to transition to college if that's where they choose to go. But you can communicate with teachers about progress, school activities, unusual behaviors or observations that you're noticing. These you may not want to include your child in, and address any concerns or challenges that you have. This is also a good time for you to say like, hey, last night's homework took about 2 hours for them to complete. Just want to know if this is reasonable or is this something that we should be taking a closer look at and, continue to note so that we can make adjustments if needed. So again, regularly communicating with your child's teacher is very important. Number three is create more structures and routine around homework and studying. Okay, so We know that children will often say, I'll do it later, or, I don't have much to do today. The more structure and routines you provide at home, the more they will, that decision, they're not going to have the flexibility of moving plans around, right? The plan is already made and it's made every day. And the more structure and routine you have, the more you are showing them how you are creating space for what you think is important. So you can, have certain times to start homework, or maybe it's a certain routine, like we're going to check our portal. The first thing we do together, you check your email, or I check my email, you check your portal. You can encourage or model reading at home, right? So oftentimes, if your child is really just not enjoying reading, right? You can encourage them to read by modeling it to them, by reading before you go to bed, having books everywhere throughout the house. Invest in educational activities and family outings. So maybe you guys want to go to museums together, or maybe you watch a movie about the place that you guys will be visiting, or the person, the historical figure they're learning about. So we want to create more like a learning environment at home with more structures and routines. Let's say you don't know something too. This is one of my favorites. I'll just tell them, oh, let's Google it. Let's Google it, right? We don't know an answer to something. Let's quickly Google it. That's the beauty. One of the nice things about having our phones now so accessible is we have knowledge that's so accessible. um, there's a lot of bad that comes with our phones as well, but that's a different conversation. And then attend school events. So, this is showing your child that you are prioritizing their events into your time. Um, so parent meetings, right? Join all parent meetings if they have a back to school meeting or a parent meeting, or field trips. Maybe they have a carnival, or they have, maybe you can volunteer at the dance. So go to their extracurricular activities. So if they're performing, or the school's putting on a drama play, a play, even if your child isn't in the play, you can always say, do you want to go to it? Right? Just to show them that you're interested in their learning, their environment, where they're spending time with. And that will also give you a glimpse into who their friends are and who your child is spending time with, which is always so valuable. But this is showing interest that you care about their school life, their friendships, their learning, and their fun life, right? All right, so we talked about some of the research, the importance about why it is so important for parents to be involved in your child's learning, the effects that it has on a child's outcomes and their life, and then also ways for you to get much more involved in your child's learning and their school this school year, which are applicable to children of all ages.